Hello, everyone. What's going on? Zaku here. Jacob, you know me from Twitter. You know, always liking pictures of hot girls, always being horny, simping. Anyway, so today I'm here with Drip. He's had a long, illustrious career in Rainbow Six, from 92 Dream Team 24-0 qualifiers to making Pro League to not playing a game to playing in Challenge League again to going nucleosis on the beat to getting on Disrupt, to not being on Disrupt. And that's, we're here today to clear a lot of that junk up. Um, if you want to introduce yourself, go ahead.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? I'm at Dripwoolen on Twitter. Drop a follow. But yeah, my name's Adam. I'm the guy that everybody considers unlucky, and I'll explain why that's a false statement coming up in the later parts of the episode. But yeah, that's pretty much just the intro of myself.
So he's gonna, obviously you guys know he was on the last couple episodes. He was my host, co-host. I guess he still is. And we're just, I want to preface this whole thing by saying this is my last podcast I'm gonna do. When we first started, there wasn't a lot of outlets. There wasn't a lot of places to get your information, but now there is plenty. I personally watch Intero's 6 on 6 podcast. I think it's really good with him and Canadian. They get a lot of guests. They're consistent. That's something that I'm not really good at, is being consistent and, having things to talk about. Um, so today I want to bring Drip on because, regarding an interview that Caliber Jacob did with Fox, he was talking about some team stuff. An interview Caliber Jacob also did with Nyx. I can link those in the description of the video if you guys want to go watch it. Um, so basically, I don't think any other influencer in Rainbow Six would give Drip a chance to, speak on his experiences, right? Because we heard Fox's side, we heard Nyx's side, and now it's like, everyone just is brushing off the opposite, the other side of the, um, I don't want to say drama, but the team stuff.
Hmm.
So that's what Drip is here today to tell us about. I'm sorry if you guys were looking forward to more episodes, but this is going to be it for me. I am not against going on any other podcasts. I'd love to talk with the Terror. I'd love to talk with Valley on the flank. All of them. Hey, whatever. Get flanks too. I forgot what it's called. Logic Bomb. But all right. So I'm gonna give you Drip the floor a little bit. He's gonna tell us some stuff, and then I have some questions for him in regards to what I saw personally in the interview Caliber Jacob did with Nyx. So if you want to go ahead and start us off, Adam.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna give a brief timeline of like where I started, where I got to, how I ended up here. So I'm just gonna start this at about a year and a half ago. So this was CL Season 9 qualifiers, and this was my first real like actual could be a team, could not be a team, but it was basically a team. Me, Rex, and Hyena started, and we were all T3 randoms, all on T3 teams, and we just kind of started our journey with a Twitter DM where we said, "Yo, all our teams are pretty average in the T3 scene in NA, but we're like the standouts on our team. Let's make a team."
A
And
little
we
Thanos
talked.
action.
Yeah, I brought in all the T3 Infinity Stones, and um, yeah, we were looking around. Doodle was one of our close friends, but as you remember, Doodle was on Sin. I'm sure many of you remember his stellar 2018 USN performance, where out of the 40 players that competed on that stage, he was statistically the 40th best, also known as the worst. But yeah, so we had Doodle. We kind of had a couple different rosters there. We had Filthy on the team at sometimes. We had Execration, who was really like an icon in getting the team started. But yeah, we ended up dropping Filthy for Doodle. Not because of anything with Filthy, just had a bad work schedule and couldn't scrim. So that's the five we went into with CL quals. And invite quals. Many of you may remember the infamous DZ 92 Dream Team Flying V game where we were trolling out of our minds. But many people seem to forget that before that we had just beaten E Gang and we were just kind of burnt out. So that's kind of why we weren't like purposely trolling, but it's like we had just so little gas left in the tank. But that's where that infamous game came from. We lost to DZ, move on to CL quals. We put up the infamous 24-0 in CL quals, 3 weeks back to back of 8-0. And we qualified for Challenger League. We actually, along that way, dropped Execration for Auda. Auda plays CL playoffs with us. we drop out of. And we actually are looking for players to pick up. There were two players we really wanted. You guys may have heard of them. One of them is Fultz when he was on OC, but he wanted to
Nice.
stay with them. And the other one was Factor, who was on Toon Squad, and he decided to stay with that team. So we ended up picking another OC member up, who was Bombs. And if you had told me, or if you had asked me a year and a half ago during these CL calls, who is the best player on OC, I would not have said Fultz, Merc, or Art. I would have said Bombs. Like, Bombs was an absolutely insane player. So we go into the CL season with Bombs. We do all right. This was back when CL had top 4 playoffs, so we were sitting at 4th and 5th. We could have done better, but Bombs was, he's one of our friends, so I don't mind saying this. He was like, costing our season. It is a team game, but like statistically, he was picked first.
Yeah.
20 times, 10 games into the season, and
Trust me, I played on a team with someone who opening death a lot, and it's not fun.
yeah, and it was really killing us. So we decided it actually kind of spontaneously happened. We wanted to try out a couple people. We were going to try out Skittles and Breezy, but
Not the
all of a
Breeze
sudden,
dog.
yeah, not the bee meister, the roaming
Roaming
smoke.
smoke.
But we Thomas ended up getting dropped from EXG, and we were like, we found our man, because Hyena was good friends with Tommy. I'm good friends with Tommy, and we picked Tommy up with 4 games left in the season. We were in 5th place. And let me tell you right now, Luminosity, 92 Dream Team, all of that, none of that exists. Pro League does not happen without Thomas. Okay.
Okay.
His you have to understand. I'll bring this up later, but 92 Dream Team, 4 of us, that was our first CL season. That was Thomas, like his veteran, experience.
Sure,
and
yeah. I mean, it's like it's like
really made
crazy
a
on
difference.
tempo. It's like they all played one season of Challenger League, and then made fucking Pro League. It's like, wait, what do we do now? It's like they had no experience.
Yeah, I mean, it made literally a huge difference. He played out of his freaking mind. We ended up getting 4th in the season, which put us in playoffs against OC. And OC had just made a roster change themselves while finishing first, so a lot of people were stunned. But it was like, on paper, a really good roster change. They dropped Gurmy for Factor, who Factor had a really good season on Tunes, but they didn't make playoffs. So we end up playing them. We were confident going into the game. I don't know if I think they were a little more confident, but I knew that with Thomas, like, we were, we didn't lose a game in CL with Thomas after we picked him up. I think we won 3, tied 1.
Right.
So we ended up 2-0ing them. We all played extremely well. Thomas, actually, I think he had the standout game. SQ beats DG. We get ready to play SQ. I remember we played SQ first on Border. We won. Next map was Clubhouse. We actually were up 4-2 on the attack half, so we had a really good attack half. We were 3 rounds away from Pro League. We trolled. We actually trolled. I played awful that map. I went like 4-10. Consulate. This is when it got spicy. So we kind of knew before the day started that if we didn't beat SQ, we more than likely weren't going to beat Rise, just because of the, mental burnout's a real thing. And, you're playing for potentially a new life. And just the fact that, you may have to play up to 6 maps in one day, it's
That
just
doesn't help either. Yeah.
exactly. And Rise will be fresh. And
they just came off watching 3 VODs of you. Like, it's just,
yeah,
it was
literally
so
3
in
whole maps.
favor. I still don't understand how they lost. Like, it's literally so in favor for the Pro League team, It's just like, you literally have to troll to lose that. And they literally trolled.
It really was like mind-boggling that they lost. Like, we thought SQ was going to play another season of CL, but excuse me, we ended up going to map 3, and SQ actually won the first 2 rounds. And Doodle's like, guys, and everybody was quiet. We weren't demoralized, but we were like, you need to pick it up. And Doodle's like, guys, I'm not fucking going back to work. Pick your shit up. And I was like, damn. I was like, yeah, because, shout out to Doodle. Doodle during CL season was working 8 to 5 shifts at, a warehouse type job where it's just not like, it's not something you want to do for the rest of your life. And like, Hyena and I were in college, full-time students. Richie was, Rexon, as you know him, was, just quit his job. So it's like, there was a lot like riding on this. And we were playing a team that, has dedicated, SQ was the only team in Challenger League that had a team house. So they're full-time dedicated to this game. And we have 4 or 5 people who are like, working
This is their
full-time
second
shift.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, this is like, a hobby, a back pocket thing. And so we end up winning the SQ game. I had 15 that map. You're welcome, Keon, if you're gonna watch
I
it.
remember watching that console clip, like everyone's outside the garage. You're like,
Yeah, go
it's
Africa,
fucking
go
Pro
Africa.
League.
Yeah, we're in Pro League, and we made it, and that was kind of our first taste at greatness. A lot of people think, oh, well, you made Pro League, who cares? You're not winning invite. But to us, it was our invite, So it really meant a lot to us. We worked really hard to get there. It was a road of ups and downs. There was, a lot of people don't remember, but we had a bunch of people on the 92 Dream Team, like just throughout the journey. Like a lot of people don't remember Ken's, who's a part of Tempo, was our coach for a little bit, and just things like that. And then so we make Pro League. You know, uh, we signed up for the Allied Minor. We actually signed up for it when we were in Challenger League. So that was another big reason we wanted to win, because we didn't want to go to the LAN event as a
After
CLT.
not making Pro League,
Yeah, like DG did, and like props to them. Like that's, it's just like there was just something walking around there. It was weird to me because I was walking around that event as a, to technically a professional player,
Pro League
right?
player, yeah.
And Leon Gids is a Challenger League player, and Leon Gids is a million thousand times better than me. It's just like it was just kind of like crazy to me, and that was all of our first lands except Keon or Hyena and
And
Rexton
Rexon, yeah, because they
played
played
at a
at the DreamHack.
BYOC DreamHack, but they didn't make it anywhere. So this was like our first international professional LAN. Um, we got there. Our first game was against Penta. I played out of my mind that map. I went 0-8.
I remember that was like your Discord role for a while. 0-8 versus Penta in your
Yeah,
Discord.
it was not. I mean, just like the VOD, thank God, the VOD is not on YouTube. For some reason, they only got the last round on YouTube, but it was just like, it was kind of an unfortunate series of events that happened. First, I think it was the second round, we're playing Consulate, right? And Doodle's projector balk, and he falls off the top of the roof to the ground, downs himself. I'm like, all right, I'll pick him up. I pick him up.
Some run out.
I pick him up and I swing across front door to connector window, and on my screen the text "You've been spotted" shows up, and it's kind of like that holy shit, that to be continued meme comes up. Like, I'm fucking dead.
I don't know
This
where this guy's
dumbass
peeking me from. Yeah.
Doodle, yeah, like dumbass Doodle just got me killed. Sir Boss peeks connector and we die. And Doodle just looks at me and he says, "My bad."
My bad.
I was like, come on, bro. And then we ended up losing that game 7-1. And the way it works, it was like a Swiss style. So it was like you lose 3 games, you're out. You win 3 games, you're on it the next day. Our next game was against SQ. And that was a barn burner of a game. It took about 2 hours because we had about 5 rehosts because the LAN host guy could not get the right settings. But we ended up winning 8-7. Super had about 18 kills. He threw back the time machine and went back to his 18-year-old self there. That guy actually, I think another Doodle moment was we were pushing Bastard Balk on club, and Doodle's holding our server swing, and the guy's swing server kills 2 of us. It was Super, and then turns on Doodle, and we lose around the Doodle again. Says, "My
My
bad."
bad.
That's on me.
I don't know what you're saying. Turn about the clock. Seth is in his prime right now.
No, that game was like he was
Jordan.
Benjamin Button. Yeah, he was Jordan with the flu, and we ended up winning that game 8-7, like a real barn burner. And they also had Beastly as a sub because Lauren couldn't play.
Oh yeah, I remember.
So maybe they would have won with Lauren, but historically we've like we've done pretty well against SQ.
Matched
So
up well, yeah.
yeah. So anyways, we play Rise next. Played him on Coastline. It wasn't. I'm trying to think of anything crazy. I think we blew a 6-4 lead. It's 6-6. Thomas ended up making a great like 2v3 play that made it a 1v1, and we ended up winning that round. And then I got the plant down on the match point 3v5, and we ended up winning that game. We're up 2-1. We're 1 game away from next day, making making the
The
top
group, right?
8.
The bracket or whatever.
Yeah, the bracket play, March Madness type thing. And then we play Team Liquid. We actually didn't play that bad. I played pretty well that game, but we ended up losing 7-4. And then our final match was against Team 1. And we were just kind of like mentally burnt out because we'd been at the arena all day. It was from like we got there at 9 a.m. Vegas time, and I
It's
don't
your
think our game
first
started till
LAN. It's your
midnight.
yeah.
And I played bad that map. Um, that loss was on me, but those guys are crazy. They played better than us, and that kind of ended our first LAN. We finished 9th through 12th, which wasn't bad. Like we did better than Penta, we did better than Vitality. Like we did good. Like I think it was a successful LAN.
Yeah,
Um,
and you get. I mean, like the only thing you like, you got experience. It's not like you lost anything
yeah,
going there, right? The only thing
mhm,
you gained was experience and a little bit of pocket change.
yeah. I mean, it was definitely a great experience, and this is where things get a little spicy, right? So, this is a one misconception I want to clear up. As far as 92 Dream Team, I wasn't dropped. Like it was my decision to leave. People
Really, I
love,
didn't even know
yeah.
that.
So you can ask Rexon or Thomas or any of them, but basically it was just like that team was weird because that team had no central voice. It was kind of just like a ragtag group of kids. That's the best way to describe it. A
Just
ragtag group of
roasting
kids
each
that made
other, playing in pro
just
league.
roasting each other. It's like your rank stacks. Like that's honestly how I would describe it. Our coach Virus was like Virus is smart when it comes to like the analytical work, but he's not like a coach like by definition, right? So when we would argue a bicker, it was like no one would be like
Stop
that's
or this or
that
that. Yeah,
figure, and it's like we argued a lot, and like we were just immature. Like there was no way to describe it. We were a professional team on paper in terms of like actual
status.
professionalism and
Yeah,
level. Like we weren't there mentally, and it like showed in kind of our scrim to practice. We would get off after a map because somebody would be upset that the team we're playing, like our egos were huge. I mean, rightfully so. We just made pro or unrightfully
oh,
so, but
so yeah.
it's semi justified, obviously not. And we just kind of had a big falling out in Vegas. Another thing is we had an org we were going to sign with, but we just kind of wanted to wait till Pro League. And kind of more because some people won't believe me when I say I left, but like it's come on. We made Pro League on May 5th, I think. The minor was June 7th, so I was on the team for 5 weeks after we made Pro League, and then Pro League started 9 days after the minor. So do you think the team really would have dropped me 9 days before?
I mean, DG did it 2 days before you were supposed to go to Vegas.
That's true. That is true. But
Anyway, I mean, look,
it,
it's you saying you left, so I gotta,
yeah,
I gotta take it what it is. I heard, I didn't hear anything. You hear from
yeah,
other people, oh, he got dropped, but you're telling me now that you left, so I'll believe it.
yeah. And part of my reasoning was they were going around, and we had like just I don't really know how to explain it, just very immature, but I went around and heard that like they wanted to buy out Spades and Factor, but like at the time like the org we were going to sign with didn't, because their buyouts were $25,000 each, right? So they didn't want to,
Yeah.
the org didn't want to set aside 25 grand for that, and it's like
Plus paying all these people these salaries, like,
yeah, and it's like they ended up, I left, and my reasoning was, which was at the time, part of I wouldn't really call it an ego. I would call it more confidence, but like that was my first season of CL. I'm 18 years old, and it's like, well, I just won Challenger League. I can do it again.
okay.
And so, that happened. I left. They picked up Pixel, and it's I kind of regret it that I could have played, in Pro League. I could have played my games. They started Pro League orgless. Let's remember they got
The
Luminosity.
whole first split.
Basically, got Luminosity, and they got Org's attention, serious Org's attention, because they started off 3-0. They beat DZ 7-1. They beat TSM 7-3. Like they just were smoking people. And if I were there, I would think the same, that like more Org attention would have came with me, whether my pass or not.
Right.
And people on Reddit like to. I'm just gonna sidetrack a little bit. It won't take
No,
long,
it's
but
not a sidetrack. It's something that
people,
I was gonna
yeah.
either ask you to bring up or bring up.
And people think, orgs will never associate with me. Maybe some will, maybe some won't. But history has shown, there are multiple people in T1 organizations who have done similar things to me. Pharaoh, who was on 100 Thieves and Team Caliber and Envy, these massive orgs. He's now the star player on the Florida Call of Duty team, which is owned by Misfits. Cat Evolved on TSM. He's a League of Legends player, similar type thing. And it's like, Zaku, you watch sports, I watch sports. Professional athletes all the time have things like this. Whether it's
DUIs, like anything, like
DUIs,
literally
domestic
anything.
violence, like anything.
Now
Michael Vick murdered dogs, like
I'm not condoning it, but it's like
yeah, but like
you said what you said. You came out and you apologized. Now, there are people who don't have to accept your apology.
Oh
There are
yeah, for
people who
sure, and
don't,
I
and people don't
understand.
have to like you. But the facts are there. You apologized, and if an org doesn't want to touch you, they won't. And if they do, they do. You know what I mean? It's like at the end
Mhm,
of the day, it's like I didn't know you at the time, so I was like, "Wow, this guy's an asshole." Then I started talking to you, and we became friends. And I was like, you know what? Maybe he's not as bad as this one clip makes him seem out to be. Right? It's like
mhm.
I've said things that I'm not proud of. I know every single one of my friends has said things they're not proud of, and not to say that it's okay that you said those things, but we all make mistakes.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, it
and
happened,
and it's also not my place to forgive you, right? It's like I
Mhm.
don't like it's not it doesn't even affect me. So I just kind of I was like, you know what, this guy's an asshole. Then I started talking to you, and I was like, hey, maybe he's not really an asshole, and that was it. Like that's where we are now.
Yeah, and, what happened, it's like, people on Reddit were like, "Oh, they'll never find representation with him," and, that just, like, that was just false, like, we had, plenty of orgs interested. What really hurt us was there was another orgless team at the time. You may have heard of them. They had a player called Bolo, and, when
When you got a
when you're
million YouTube subscribers,
Yeah.
that's the team that people are looking for. That's
Yeah,
the
exactly, and they ended up getting TSM, and the thing with Dream Team was that it, nobody on that team had any sort of following. Like our biggest clout, the most person with clout, because I mean, orgs do look at analytics and things like that in a way too, and it's like
impressions. Yeah,
impressions, metrics, all that. Is Virus was had the most followers on our team. Virus got the most interactions, and he had like 2,500 followers, and I was next. So it's just like in terms of a team, we were a pro league team, but like besides that, no streamers on the team, nothing really besides people that just played the game off stream and scrims, and so that pretty much like it's hard to compete with Bolo in that regard. But anyway, that happened. I ended up um moving on. I took some time off to think about what I was going to do. Then I played a couple of times with Leftovers, which was that team of Crazy and Adam and
Brian.
Brian and
Yeah,
Jarvis, and um I ended up deciding to make my own team with that was called Akatsuki, and we ended up making Challenger League, and it was me, Prod, Prophecy, Talon, and Benji. But some of you may have forgot because this was a really short thing that happened in between Leftovers and Akatsuki. I was on a team called Disrupt Gaming for 10 days.
that's right. The
Um,
first time.
the first time. So Disrupt signed me. The team was me, Mo, Yeti, Spades, and Reed. Now on paper, that team sounds pretty good for Challenger League. Like, I was on Dream Team.
Contender. It's a contender. Yeah,
I was, in Challenger League statistically, season 9, I was like a top 8 player. Kills. I was like, I got plants down CGG like rating, like everything. I was like, really at the top of
decent.
the
Yeah, good.
board. Yeah, and the team was looking good, and um a lot of people were hyped to see me on that team. They thought we were going to be nasty, but I was dropped from that team because flat out the roles didn't work. I was picked up as an entry, and Yeti was put to breach, and it's just like Yeti's a mechanically like extremely skilled player, and by no means he should be on breach. And it was like,
Yeah, it's a complete waste of talent.
yeah, it really was, and it's just the team didn't click, and like nothing, like sometimes it just doesn't work. Like that's just how it is,
Yeah, no, just like
I wasn't really,
think of CLG back in the day. That team on paper
yeah.
could have won majors, and then it's like it just didn't work.
Yeah, and it happened. I got dropped. I wasn't too mad because I had my Akatsuki in the back of my mind the whole time. And the next week after I got dropped Akatsuki,
Oh,
we made CL.
let me stop you there. So even the
Yeah.
first time on DG when you joined them, right? People talk about orgs will never touch you, this and that. Cashflow literally made a post about picking you up. I remember reading it,
Hmm.
and he
Yeah.
was like, I do believe in second chances. I believe people make mistakes. So there you go, right there. That's like a primary source example of an org will touch you. It's just the team didn't work out.
Yeah, and orgs will always touch people if they see value in them, which is why Doki is still on Navi. They saw incredible value with him. He's a great player, great
Exactly.
content creator. So
Yep.
yeah, like just to hush those rumors from Reddit down, but because those I do read everything even if I don't reply, but it's just kind of annoying to see stuff like that when
Trust
the
me, I hate
people
every
that
time I go
think
on
they
that
know.
website. I see something that I wish I didn't.
Yeah, it's just a cesspool of ignorance. But anyway, the cash flow and Tens, aka Cliff, who are the two DG owners, did they gave me the chance, and I was thankful, and like I didn't burn any bridges when I got dropped, and not, which is why I got picked up the second time, but we'll get there in a second. But, I joined Akatsuki. We didn't have that great of a CL season. We kind of got screwed over by the format because this is when top two teams made, only top two teams got the
And no
chance, not the top
playoffs.
four. And, Suzaku's, you remember you dropped 15 on us, or 14 on Coastline.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so Suzaku shut us down real quick. Any chance we had a pro league, we're like, well, we're not going to make it if we can't beat
I
Cryogen
remember
and Zaku.
I remember you DM me. You're like, nice man. Thanks for ruining my chances at pro league. I was like, sorry.
Yeah,
Like, like I don't know what to say. My bad.
yeah. It was a wake up call, but we I think we finished fourth that season. But like again,
No
92 Dream Team
playoffs.
finished fourth in the season, but no playoffs. It means nothing, right? So we went our separate ways. So I took some time off, or not time off, but I just kind of like,
Wasn't on a team.
yeah, I just like was exploring my options, and then the next Siege Dynasty was created called PogChamp. Basically me and Trip just kind of like DM because we play each other in Challenger League and like we wanted to make a team. Ghost was like, to me, Ghost has always been a great player. Like he's incredibly skilled, like mechanically, and I like knew he would like thrive in our environment, like just because SQ and us is a different environment. We ended up trying a different people. Like we had Prophecy on the team at one point, Crusher, but then Jarvis got screwed from TSM or whatever you want to say, but he got dropped, and Chala was on his Chala. This was probably 2 months after he got dropped from SSG, and he took a couple weeks off to explore his options, but we ended up picking up Chala, and that was the team. And let me just say right now, PogChamp was 100% the best team I've ever been on. Like, it is an individual and as a player, I grew more in the 3.5, 4 months I was on that team than I have in the year and a half in my Siege career before that.
Okay.
And Chala, Chala would say the same thing. He TSM would have never, like, he would not have reached the skill to meet TSM's requirements if he didn't have Pog, like if he didn't learn all the stuff he learned from PogChamp. I would have never gotten to where I was as a player without
PogChamp.
PogChamp. And a big I would say the driving force behind that, Trip and Ghost are great, but like
Jarvis. Yeah. I was
I
gonna say
got
all his
got to
experience.
yeah, like gotta shout out Jarvis. Like Jarvis is, I see he gets a lot of shit on Reddit and stuff. Oh, he's never top of the leaderboards and bright green stats, but like Jarvis is the driving factor in that team, and like I would like shout out to Jarvis for giving me a chance, like, and sees the potential in all of us. And I mean, he's just a great player that deserves pro league. And I mean, there's literally just not enough good things to say about him, but
Hopefully we'll see him there soon.
yeah, and I definitely think we will. And we ended up doing really well in quals, but in invite quals, we just kind of had a slow tournament. We lost a Rise. We ended up beating some meme team, and then we ended up losing 2-1 to LG. We actually trolled. We should have won 2-0, but we just had small mistakes. Then it was kind of the small mistakes that separate a professional level team from a challenger league
Team.
level
Yeah.
team. And PogChamp was pretty new, so we weren't too mad about it. We go on to play CL quals. And interestingly enough, around CL quals, because this is around Invite 2020, there are rumors starting to form, and the rumors are Challenger League Season 11 will mean nothing except for money. There are rumors that Sonics doesn't have to play, and that another mysterious unknown org has the spot for the 10th, the 9th and 10th spots in Pro League.
Yeah.
And the rumors circulated, but we didn't think much about it. And then it was pretty much confirmed to us that SQ didn't have to play CL. And that kind of made us think like, oh well, shit. Like CL doesn't like what
Doesn't
like,
matter. No, it doesn't matter.
it was devastating, because we felt we had the chance to make it, and we ended up playing CL quals playoffs, and Jar was already gone to LG. Like he knew he was leaving. I had just gotten contacted about my DG tryout. So we had played Senshi. We actually lost the BO3. We kind of trolled really hard, but we ended up making CL. We ended up actually slamming Shuttle's team.
Run it back, yeah.
Run it back, which a lot of people thought they were gonna, because they went first in the playoff or the Challenger League brackets, like the Swiss style stuff.
Yeah.
And we ended up beating Bra, who got second in CL. So we had a good playoff run. We ended up making it, but Jar left for LG, and I had my DG tryout, and PogChamp kind of wasn't really the same team.
I mean,
They still won Challenger League.
when two people leave, you kind of have to change the whole dynamic.
Yeah. We got I got Filthy on the team because I really thought Filthy was good. I was still on the team at the time. I wanted to play with Filthy. Then I left to DG. They picked up Prod, who I always thought Prod was super good. He's just kind of a douche sometimes to me
I
because
mean, he
he's a
played he
bully.
played phenomenal that last season.
Yeah, he played good. A little bit of a baiter. I always
I
tell him
was
that, so no worries. But he's
I
a really good player.
I cried a little bit. You did get me a tryout with them, which I appreciate, and
Yeah.
we had to play EG, and we actually won a match, I think, and I didn't do too bad. But then they were like, we're going with prod, this and that. And I was telling like England and everyone in my Discord, about like how I tried out. We did okay, but I didn't get picked up. And England was like, oh, he's like, Zaku, that's my bad. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, we scrimmed them, but we haven't played in like a week. So like he went nuclear every map. I was like, God damn it, man. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're just
Yeah.
like, God, oh my God. That's just like, just want to throw that in there. But they were like, yeah, we haven't scrimmed in a week. Like someone's
That's on
computer
us.
didn't work or something. And like, we just, we weren't playing well. I was like, nice, man.
Made
Fucking
Prod look
asshole.
like a superstar.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like they were like, yeah, he got like 15 every map. I was like, God damn it! Like I had to fucking play EG. I got fucking like impacted on a Goyo shield. It was terrible. It was
Yeah,
like one of the
sounds
worst
like
tryouts I ever had. Anyway, go. You can keep going. Sorry, I just want to throw
and
that in there.
and they end up picking up Filthy and Prod. And me and Jar have said this on multiple occasions. If Challenger League Season 11 had mattered, we would have stayed on PogChamp, both of us. We would have taken the risk of not going to Pro League and trying to qualify with our team. Unfortunately, it didn't matter, so you kind of have no choice, right?
You
And
got to do what's better for you. As a
yeah, and it was hard. Like, it was hard to leave that team. Like, but I ended up getting the tryout for DG, and I had known who they were trying out. Like, I just heard around the grapevine of NA scrims. They tried out Wrath. They tried out Thumbis. Like, players that like are very good players, but like in my own confidence, I know that I have like the experience over them, and like I just think I'm
Pro League ready.
yeah, I'm ready. Like I went plus 48 in CL quals. Like I'm ready. I don't belong at this level anymore. And they tried out Chala, and Chala was a beast, but he just didn't fit the roles they needed. So, and I mean, look at Chala now; he's on TSM, so I guess he got a good deal out of that one, right? And um, yeah, they end up trying me out. My tryout was against Okami, um, and I played extremely well in my tryout, and they end up picking me up. And this is, I think, my first official day on the team was March 3rd or March 4th. So just to put into the time frame,
Here we go.
March.
This is the
Yeah,
information that I'm gonna put in the title of the video where this starts because this is the what most people are here to see.
yeah,
Not to discredit your whole backstory. I enjoyed listening to it, but
yeah. This is the juice, and I understand that's why people are here. So March 3rd or March 4th is when we had our five. It was me, Shuttle, Reed, Nixon, Retro. So we knew all we had to do. We had the Pro League spot. We just scrimmed to get better. And in 3.5 months, when Pro League starts, is when we see where we are. And um, going into the team, I was the entry. I was like the Zofia Jaeger player, but a lot of I think my best skills come from is like the flex on defense. Like I'm really good at Jaeger, who isn't, but like I'm really good at Cade. I'm really good at Mute. I'm really good at stuff like that. So we ended up like kind of letting Nyx take the Jaeger back, and I was playing that flex role on defense, but mainly playing entry. And so our team starts, and I would say a weekend is when we had some conflict already. And I wouldn't really say it was anybody's fault at this point. I would say it's more of the system's fault because you have 5 players that come from 5 different backgrounds, right? Nyx came from DZ. He teamed with Retro on Rec, but it was for 2.5 months.
2.5 months, yeah.
I was on DG longer than Nyx was on Rec. So just to put that into perspective.
That's true.
Shuttle came from Rogue. Reed came from E United, which they have a very different way they run things. And I came from PogChamp, Dream Team, Loosey Goosey teams. So
It's like 5 different mentalities, 5 different backgrounds,
exactly.
all just put together just for the sake of we have a pro league spot. We're gonna pick up these guys.
And again, I think DG, like, they have this spot, and I heard from through the grapevine they were entertaining different options. They were considering, they could have picked up EG or LG. They could have picked a team from scratch. They could have picked up PogChamp. And hindsight is 2020. If maybe they'll show me up next week, and maybe they'll show me what I'm about to say is wrong. But if I was Cash, the GM of DG and the others. I don't know who else was invested in picking the initial starters of the
roster,
team.
yeah, or the
But
people
yeah,
to
but
build it around.
I would have picked up either LG or PogChamp and just gone from there. Two teams that have chemistry that are established, because when we made the team, or when I made DG, I have never had a conversation with Nyx or Reed. I mean, Nyx, Retro, or Shuttle in my entire life, besides that one podcast with Shuttle. And I teamed with Reed for 10 days a year ago, right? So, like, there was no chemistry between me and them. I know Reed had never talked to really Nyx or Retro before. Like, it's just,
It's a
it,
brand new. It's brand
it's
new.
literally like just solo queuing into a pro league team in a way. That's just the best way to describe it. And we had the spot, and I would say the first weekend we had some conflict, and um, it was really just like different expectations on the team. So I'll bring up our first like run into the wall here was against Dark Zero in a scrim. I think it was maybe our first week as a team, no later than 10 days in, and we got smoked, absolutely shit on. I mean, it's Dark Zero, but absolutely shit on. And after the scrim, it was just like, you know, we had a player, and it was most of us were okay with it. Like, you're not gonna beat DZ after 10 days of
Days of being together, yeah. You're not gonna
yeah, like
7-0, 7-0, 7-0 them.
like sorry, you're not. And it was just Nyx was like, how when do we, because we had a meeting with the org owners, we used to do these empty the bag meetings, which I thought were really smart by DG, but he's just like, how long can we keep making this excuse of we're a new team? And this is where me and Nyx had this conflict, and it's like, I'm Nyx is a shoot for the stars kind of guy, and I get it, and so am I, but it's like I'm extremely realistic, I'm blunt, and it's like, dude, after 2 weeks,
We're not gonna beat G2.
we're
Like,
not
yeah.
we're a professional level team in name, but in terms of skill, we're not there yet. And that goes to anybody, dude. Like any 5 stack of pros, you just mix and mash together that have never played together. After 10 days, is not going to be a professional level team. CL teams will have the chemistry, the dynamic over them, and it's like he just disagreed, and I think it was an ego thing with him.
I
And
wanna insert something here. When I saw them in the interview, right, and I see them tweeting about DG talking about how he has the leadership qualities in this. I agree. Like wanting to be a championship team, like that is super important. Wanting to be the best is extremely important, and saying that. But at the same time, like if in my eyes you say all that, you drop Yardy a week before he moves to Vegas, and you pick this guy up. If you make one roster move, that shit that you said makes no sense, right? In between now and winning a championship, because if your goal is to win a championship, and that's why one of the reasons, that's why what he said in the interview is like one of the reasons why they wanted to make a change. If they make another change, then that all goes away. And it's like you're not. It just shows, right? You can't be a championship team after 10 days or however long.
yeah,
And it's like that's just something I noticed. And once again, having that attitude is a phenomenal quality to have, but also being realistic is another good quality to have. Knowing what you're capable of and knowing what it takes to get there, right?
yeah. And yeah, and I don't even know if Nyx knows this until now, but about 2 weeks into the team, dude, everybody, it wasn't just me that had this conflict with him. Everybody did not enjoy teaming with Nyx. And I'm sorry to call people out, but that's the truth, because he wanted to call me out and say I made no improvements. But dude, 2 weeks into the team, we had a whole me, Retro, Shuttle, and Reed hopped into a Discord. We didn't want to play with him anymore, like just flat out. And what all started it was that Nyx would DM me 1v1, and he would just like, and I'm gonna quote a DM here.
I just letting you all know, I have the DMs here. I'm not gonna show them on stream because it's not my place, but whatever he says, I will confirm that that's literally what I see right here, and I can see it all. I see it all in this text channel.
So Nick said, "You need to stop trying to be a leader," and I responded, "I wasn't trying to." His response was, "You literally tried to IGL a defense on cons." I responded, "Bro, what? I just suggested we try a CEO hold. How is that IGLing?" Nick's replied, "Because I said, why don't we just use the one we have in dry rant, and you got upset." Okay, that wasn't true, but Nick then said, "You don't have the authority to change anything. I am perfectly fine with listening, but in-game, I make the calls." Now, the second part of that is fine. Like, in-games, he is the leader, so he makes the calls. But the first part, you don't have the authority to change anything. To me, that's your teammate. Okay,
It's like a superiority complex thing.
Yeah.
It's not even like it's like if he like you said if he just said that second part, that's fine. Like who cares? He's like, you know what? I make the calls in game, fine, whatever. But prefacing it with you don't have the authority, like what? I want a pro player or a team or a caster or a coach to come in this comment section and tell me right now that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
And not one of them will. And maybe someone, maybe someone from his family, maybe someone from DZ will come in here and say that. But that's not, that's not how the world works. There's no chance that LeBron goes up to his teammate and says, "You do not have the authority to talk."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've never been on a DZ level team, Zaku, but my past teams, whenever things were going wrong, whether the IGL was Hyena, me, Doodle, any team I've been on, Jarvis,
it's a team thing.
The first thing you do is listen to suggestions if something's not working. And I know for a fact if I was on PogChamp and I asked Jar, or I told Jar,
hey, we should do a CEO hold here instead.
Yeah, and I said to Jar, you don't have the authority, he would have left the Discord, left the team right there. Unfortunately, I was contractually bound, but
unfortunately.
But this is gonna sound like I'm like real like bitch made stuff right here. But when I got that DM, because I was after a scrim, right? I just laid in bed and looked up, and I'm like, what did I get myself into? Because I know, like at the time, I thought I have to live with this guy. I have to live with someone that doesn't respect my opinions as a player, and we all have the same goals on the team, right? We all want to win.
You all want to be the best. Like when you're playing in Pro League, it's just a given, right?
Yeah.
It's a given that you want to improve. It's a given that you want to win. Like I said, showing that is cool, but like everyone has the same goal. And your goal of wanting to be the best is not better than Bolo's goal of wanting to be the best or Hyper's goal of wanting to be the best.
And to continue that, he said, I responded about an hour later. So where did you expect us to be right now as a team? And here are the 6 most important words. I think for our first week, this is a week in, okay? And we're having these issues. I said, I think for our first week, we played well considering all the circumstances. He responded, we should not be losing more than 3 rounds to Iconic. Those guys literally suck. Now, I don't mind the shit talk. I think a lot, like, we all shit talk. That's not the issue here. But the fact is, like, he's worried about the scrim scores a weekend against Iconic's team, old team, OB. Now, for those of you that don't know, OB is a notorious North American team. They are an underage team that has professional level talent. And guess who's on OB at this time?
Iconic, NJR.
Iconic, NJR, 3 professional players, Lags, and then J90, who's in Challenger League right now with Joe, who's a strong Challenger League team, and Quantum, who just didn't like comp, but he's like mechanical skill wise and everything. He's professional level skill.
He's smart. He could fit. I honestly think he could be a support player in Pro League. Anyway.
Yeah. OB is a professional level team that was restricted by their age. And it was just like, it was the ego showing, and it was like, and I'm not blaming him for the ego, dude. I want to win scrims too, but you have to be realistic and don't discredit your opponents. And I had a bad problem with this too. I'm not saying
everyone does. Literally everyone does. Like you could just from talking to people, that teams are like this. But go on, sorry.
And he said they suck. I said no, they don't. They're really good. I agree we should be winning, but they don't suck. They're solid, and we are playing well so far. And they said highly disagree. We smash those guys every time. Or smash those guys every time on DZ is what he was referring to. And maybe, but to counter that statement about DZ is a great professional team, but DZ is a team, I think their biggest weakness was USN. If you ever remember USN, DZ would always struggle against these T3 teams. And it's like, how can he say that, like, you're smashing these teams in scrims, right? But
then lose in the match that matters.
Then lose to Billboard in a BO1 or Cry Magic. Like, no offense to Billboard or Cry Magic, but like those guys are beating DZ. It's like, well, Nix, maybe your outlook on how these players are should change a little bit, right?
Yeah, you shouldn't really discount anyone. It's Siege. Anyone can win any day of the week. And it shows. It shows in Pro League. It shows in these qualifiers, and it's just something you have to live by. Especially in this meta. Sorry, go ahead.
So I showed that DM to Retro because I didn't know where people stood. Because I'm on weekend. I'm not trying to, dude. The last thing on my mind is causing any drama. I want to play. I want to get better. But
someone just told you that you don't have the authority.
Yeah,
like that's crazy. That to me, that is just insane.
And I
and
showed
I
it.
know other people agree on that.
Yeah, and I showed this to Retro, and Retro called me instantly, and he was just like, "Yeah, that's bullshit. Like, why would he ever say that?" Like, and we got in a call with Shuttle and Reed. They agreed. And like as a four, we were like pissed off. Like we did not want like this is the leader. Like we need change. So cash flow, cash flow. I don't know. I can't comment on other orgs in Siege, but like cash flow is like an extremely like he's really invested in it, which is a good thing. Like he's always checking in on the team, things like that. So it's like
He cares,
he was
unlike
yeah
LG,
he
where
cares.
they don't even meet you
Yeah.
in person. Like
Yeah, and
he's
that's why you shouldn't worry about Twitter followers because LG may have a check mark in Twitter followers, but cash flow actually cares about his players and things like that. So, um, yeah, we got in a call and like we had our first empty the bag meeting is what they were called, where everybody get on a face cam or in my case I don't have a face cam, so I had to use my phone, and it's like we talk and like basically you roast each other, but not like mean roasting, like you just
well, because
honestly
you want
try
them to
to
get
get
better. They're
better.
your teammates. You want them to get better. Yeah.
And we had one of those, and um I just kind of want to note something about the DZ scrim that I mentioned earlier where we got smacked. If you go to the last screenshot here, again,
Okay.
we're not going to show them because we want to keep the identities anonymous, but we had players, various pro players, DM me, DM Retro, DM members of our team and say Nyx needs to be dropped. He is trolling. He is not like and none of us agreed with that, but like we had outsiders trying to tell us like the issue is if these are like what's going on, this person is the issue. And as you can see in the last screenshot,
Yeah, I can actually see it.
two iconic members of not iconic the player, but two very well respected North American players had said
Mentioned
that.
it. Yeah.
And yeah, but we kind of hurdled that. We had the empty the bag meeting. We told Nyx his issues, and I was talking to Shuttle about this because Shuttle, through most of the time, seemed to be on my side. If there was anybody on that team that was on my side the most, it was Shuttle. But Shuttle was worried that it was like a band-aid type of thing where he'd stop it and it would, the band-aid would open and the wound shows itself. The true
Right.
character comes out. And you know, scrims were okay, I guess. Like
I don't know. I saw
another,
the screenshots. It's just like they. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but like it was bad.
yeah. I mean, again, it wasn't bad if you have a different outlook on it. Like I had the outlook
Right.
of
I wasn't in there playing. Right. Like you
yeah,
guys. I'm sure you guys learned a ton. I'm sure like scrims don't define you as a team, but like if you were to send me those with no context,
mhm,
what am I going to think? Right.
yeah. And my outlook on it,
And I'm not saying you sent me those. You did not send me those. It was from other
yeah,
people.
yeah,
You already never sent me any screenshots besides these ones that I have right now, which is
yeah.
just DM conversations.
My outlook on it because I'm realistic but positive at the same time. And I remember our first empty the bag meeting 10 days, 8 days after we made the team, we were all giving ratings on how the team went. And Nyx gave it like a 2 out of 10. Like the team was abysmal so far, looking awful. And I gave it a 7 out of 10 because you have to consider these things. You have to factor these things in. We don't have the team house yet. We're 7 days in as a team. How good was Dark Zero before the team house? They never got top
How
2 in
many
the region.
hours? How many hours has Dark Zero put in
Put in to
to
reach
your
where they
10
are.
days? To your 10 days. Think about it. Like
Exactly. And
it's
it's
just
the standards, the bar was set way higher than where the realistic standards should be, like where we realistically were, right? When we were DG the first week, dude, none of us were friends. This isn't when you make a team, you make a team with your friends, right? This is not a team of
this is
friends,
a
this is a team
business.
of
This is a
colleagues
team of
right now.
business. Yeah.
And chemistry is a huge thing in Siege. Really is. And yeah, we had that meeting and I guess things slightly got better. But again, like the band-aid reopened itself, and I remember we were scrimming. This is a specific instance. We were scrimming, I think, a T3 team with Bravo Dog, Cry Magic, like a not so great team, but a not so bad team, and we scrimmed 4 maps. And I remember we beat them 3 maps in a row and lost the final map, maybe 7-5. And we had a huge argument after because Nyx is like, "How can we stop these inconsistencies?" And it's like, dude, it's like
Inconsistencies. We just won 3 maps.
we
Like it's
just
a
won 3
scrim.
maps. Like
It's a scrim.
it's like yeah, it's a scrim and we won 3 maps. Like how are you saying there's inconsistencies? If you're winning 3 out of 4 maps, you're the best team in the world in Siege. You're winning 3 out of 4 maps. That's a 30-point season in Pro League.
That's a 5 map series you just won.
Like there was always when Nyx, there was always a negative. Like, we could have 4 good maps, but there was always a negative. And I get it. A negative is how you fix your issues, but not every time when you don't shine any positive. And yeah, we proceeded on. I mean, things got really bad when we were scrimming PogChamp once, and we smoked him the first map, and we got smoked the next 3 maps. In PogChamp, another notorious NA scrim team, I would know, I was on PogChamp. We would smoke teams. There's no shame in losing to PogChamp in a scrim. They're a great team, a team of all pros, and it's just like, we were demoralized after. And I mean, I wasn't, but I mean, it's just another instance of things going really bad. Another time things were going bad. We were scrimming. We were scrimming Thomas, basically my current team, but it didn't have me and Rexon, but it still had Thomas, Filthy, Benji Mula,
yeah.
three professional level players, just not in pro league. And I remember we lost the first map 7-5, and Nick's just shut down mentally. Like, our IGL, like, he wasn't talking, and he's just like, how are we losing? And it's just like, when your IGL does that, it brings everything down. And I'm not saying I wasn't guilty, dude. I had a bitching problem. My issue was I would die. This guy, I ate a headshot, and I'm not saying I'm innocent, but like, when the IGL is doing that, it rubs off on me. And I'm any of my past teammates will tell you, I'm a product of my environment. When I was on PogChamp, dude, it was like
You guys
me and
roasting each
Jar,
other. Everyone's roasting each
but
other,
we were
right? Like
having
shit like
we
that.
were having fun, but like, we weren't getting mad, or nobody would get depressed. Nobody would be in Marvin's room, and it's like,
And
on
that's
DG dudes.
I want to
Like,
put something in, even in this last qualifier, right? Like, I'm playing with Karn and Avian and like Sour and Benchy. We all have comp experience, and it's like, I have that same problem. I would die to like some dude doing the most ridiculous shit ever, right? And like, I know that if I had my gun up, or I know that like, if I did one other thing, I would have been fine. And I'd be like, bro, let's get some fucking like connector or some shit. And Karn would be like, relax, Zaku. Like, and then he'd keep talking, right? Like, he was our IGL. He was the one who was like, he'd be like, Zaku, relax. Like, or Zaku, it's okay. Like, we got your refrag. Like, someone has to do that.
yeah.
If you're on a team, this is a good lesson. If you're on a T3 team or a T2 team, there has to be someone who is talking at all times. Because as soon as you stop talking, that's when you lose. You just beat yourself at that point.
Yeah. And the thing with DG is we had no central voice. We had Nick's, but like, it wasn't a leadership voice. He has leadership traits in that, like, he's strong headed, but like, he's not like, I just can't, it's not like Karn where he keeps everybody calm. It's like, he would instigate with me. And like, I remember another time we were scrimming Factor, and he just like lost his mind on me because I left my position, my post. And it's like, I'm fine with that, but like, it wasn't my fault because I called it 5 times, and
like, hey man, I can't play here, right? Like, I'm gonna get naded, or I gotta get out, or.
And it's just like that's just, it's just was not a leadership quality. And I think he has this complex, this power complex, and I've heard it from past teammates of his, and it's like, it's like he wants to be the leader of a team. That's fine, like, nope, but like, you
gotta do it the right way. You just gotta do it the right way.
It's just, it was a blame fest. It was pinning blame on people, and that's why 10 days into, the team was fed up with him. And
I can see it here. It's not just you. It's like,
people talk around the grapevine, like, that's just word spreads fast. And another thing, Nick's DM me, and he said, Retro and I agree, you deserve a lot of the blame. Yes, after I said, bro, it's a team. We all have our issues, but you're saying the team has been playing like shit when I disagree. It makes it seem like I'm getting all the blame for it. He responded, Retro and I agree that you deserve a lot of the blame. Yes. And I actually asked Retro, and he was just like, I mean, that's not true. Like, I stick up for you when I can. And it's like, Nyx is just hard headed like that. And it's like, dude, like, I hate hearing shit like that. Like, I too want to get better, but like, when you message me that, like, it's very,
that's not the way to do it. That's literally not the way to do it.
I'm telling you, dude, Zaku.
Like, in what, like, I'm reading this DM right in my face. Like, in what team environment is this okay? In what team environment is this okay? And I want to say this, that the teams that he have been on talk shit about him. Players on the teams, they might be saving face for the timeline. I'm not going to say who, but they have, because I've heard it firsthand, primary sources. Now, that's fine. I believe in DG. I believe they could be a good team. And it's cool that he wants to be a leader. And it's if he learned from, let's say they dropped you, but he learned from these mistakes, perfect. But I just don't see it happening. Like, just reading these DMs that were sent to you. It's insane in my mind. What leader of a team would say things like this? If
Yeah,
like I don't get it. A team that has been formed for 10 days. Maybe if you're Fabian and you're on G2, maybe after winning 2 majors, you can say stuff like that. Maybe. If you show this to Canadian, what do you think he would say? Do you think he goes to Fultz and says shit like this? No.
yeah.
There's no fucking chance.
Yeah, I mean, imagine just a hypothetical. Someone said this to Fultz 10 days in and Merck, who didn't have the hottest starts in Pro League, right? Who are now 2 of the best players
in the world.
And yeah, I mean, just I was mind blown. And it was like this every night. Like every night after scrims, if we had a night that wasn't a 10 out of 10, dude, my Nix would say, "Yo, can you talk?" And he would just send me an essay. And it's like, dude, like this is my time to wind down. Like I can't have this stress. I was going into scrim stress. It affected my performance. Like, and I'm strong headed. Like, dude, I played sports growing up. I've been in a team environment. I've practiced many disciplines where you have teamwork and communication.
Even in PogChamp in '92, like you guys, the energy there, right? Like it just roasting each other, but you're still having fun. You're still winning. And here is it's just a list of things you did wrong and what you have to do to get better.
So stressful.
And it's like, oh my God.
And it's like, I'm very like, dude, it takes a lot to tilt me. It really does. Like it takes a lot to like actually mentally upset me. But like, dude, I would call my mom doesn't know anything about video games. She doesn't know. I was a professional player. This Disrupt was paying me professional level salary. My parents have no idea anything about Siege. And I would explain to my mom and the bare minimal of how this works. I was like, I have a boss. He's not even a boss. He's a teammate, but he acts like a boss. And my mom has worked corporate jobs where she's had asshole bosses too. I'm not calling Nix an asshole, but dude, we're teammates. Why?
Like, there's got to be a better way to go about it. There just has to be. There literally has to be.
It was really, really fucking stressful every night, dude. I would lose sleep over it. I was like, I do not.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you can continue.
I watched the interview with Caliber Jacob, and he mentioned that he would sit down one-on-one with you and like watch a VOD. Were those VOD sessions helpful, or was it just sitting there watching what you were doing and literally picking apart every little thing? Did those help you? Did those help you come to like him? Did those help you build a relationship with him? Or did it completely ruin that? And did it even happen?
Here's what's interesting, because it happened maybe twice, definitely once. I remember it happened once for sure. I don't think it happened more than once, if I'm going off my memory. I don't think we had a one-on-one more than once. Every day we had VOD review. Our first coach on the team on DG was Reaper. Reaper had to step down, but Reaper gave me more one-on-ones, and we had 2 one-on-ones, and it was more than Nix. And Reaper noticed improvement in me, and Nix, to quote Nix, I made no improvements or micro improvements. And, Reaper, had a meeting with me, like, every player on the team had one-on-ones, and he gave me mine. And a week later, he said he noticed all the change, and like, he's noticed, like, my issue was I wouldn't play my life. Like, kills were not the problem for me. I would get 2 picks, throw it away. And, I agree that was an issue, and I really do think I worked on it. Comms were an issue, but I think I worked on that. And yeah, I think that's pretty much, like, in terms of like the 1v1 meetings we didn't have any. I remember he had a meeting with me about like, I have a big issue of typing in chat, which is, I agree with Nix. This is fucking stupid. Like, I
always turn chat off for like ranked and everything. I can't stand it. But I wish you could turn off for custom games, right? Because I'm pretty sure it's always on for custom games.
Yeah, and I have it on, and I would just put question marks or like. And I agree, it wasn't professional, but it really wasn't that big of a deal. It didn't.
I mean, pro teams do it. I mean, everyone does it. It's just. Like,
Sky's super all easily type all the time. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. It's never bothered me. Ghost on PogChamp hates when I do it too, and it's like, but like Ghost wouldn't call me into a meeting and like just like.
Hey man, you gotta stop. You gotta stop putting question marks. It's not professional.
He would just say, "Man, please stop," and I'd be like, "All right, like that's simple." Like, Ghost said, "Please stop." All right, I respect him. I did it, and I did it. I stopped it with Nix. Like, don't get me wrong, I stopped that typing, but like, yeah, scrims were going average. We had our next empty the bag meeting. We had a really bad scrim against PogChamp. And if you look at this screenshot, I still have a group chat with PogChamp. It's basically them like analyzing the scrim, and it's just like them roasting, like, they didn't see me as the issue. The team we played that smoked us, the one map we won, I had like 15. I don't care about scrim results, but they didn't see me as the issue. And look at if you look at screen, I think it's the
Is it
fourth
this?
screenshot.
Yeah,
The
with the one with
the
Ghost.
title. Oh, yeah, with Ghost and Jarvis, and it's just like dude, like they just look at who they're criticizing, and it's like I get they're not on our side of the ball, but like it's like when constantly other teams see that
And they
player's
they
the
reach
issue.
out to you and they tell you and they say like, hey man, like you guys got to make a change. It's like, and you didn't even like, it's not even a question of like you're here to overthrow the rule. It's like you're just like, we're just trying to make this shit work.
Yeah,
Like I'm not here. I'm not on this DG team to try and kick everyone and bring on PogChamp for my own.
yeah,
You're
dude.
just like I need my IGL to stop berating everyone, and then that's the first step to improving everywhere else in every other aspect.
It Yeah, and after that PogChamp scrim, this was probably a month ago. I would say 10 to 12 days before I got dropped. Reed DMs me that night, and he's like, "Yo, can you talk?" And I was just like, "Oh, I know what it's about." And I asked him, I'm like, "Am I dropped yet?" Because you can just tell by the energy, Zaku. It's a real thing, and it's just like he's like, "No, not yet." He called me in a call. He's like, "You got to pick your shit up." He was I mean, he gave me the heads up, but I knew right there I could have connected all the stones, the Infinity Stones, and had 15 kills a map. I was
It
gone.
wouldn't
I
matter.
knew it.
Yeah, it literally
I
didn't
was
matter.
gone at that point. And to DG, their counter argument is it was a unanimous decision to remove me. Yeah, that's fair.
Eh,
But honestly, I think it was manipulation. And um, R- Retro is a really good player. He's just like he's not vocal. He kind of plays the fence on both sides. Like he would tell me one thing, but he would tell Nix another, and that's fine. People like I I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like some people just want to play for like just to keep their own spot and not cause any drama. And I don't think Retro wanted drama, but like the fact that they wanted to unanimously remove me, I think it was just constant manipulation from Nix because I called Cashflow one day and I'm like, dude, I'm just getting bad vibes from Nix. And he's like, yeah, Nix just called me and said the same thing. He's like, it's like, dude, Nix is going behind my back, like DMing people. And I wasn't innocent either, but like I would do it to ask the team. And Cash made me like, we had a meeting that night. The
and
day
he's
after
making it a
recall.
point, to talk about these things and to be,
Yeah.
in it together. And it's
And
just that's it's literally the complete opposite.
And let me remind you, we have no coach now. Reaper quit after 2 weeks because of health issues. And Reaper was a great coach. That guy's a genius. He deserves all the recognition he gets, everything. But we have no coach. We're trialing coaches. So the only criticism I get is from Nix. And Nix is very hard-headed on his criticism. So if he sees something, there's no higher authority or other eyes to like really see my point of view, right?
There's no
So
middle ground. It's just this is the
yeah,
way. This is the way, and that you have to abide by it or you're
yeah.
dropped.
And we had no coach. So it was basically Nix playing the player coach role. And we ended up getting in a meeting, and Shuttle was on my side in the meeting. I would say Retro was indifferent, and in the meeting we were doing like everybody. Retro said he noticed improvements, but like it wasn't as big as they needed to be. Which to me, I'm just like, dude, what do you like?
What are you even saying there at that point? Like,
I'm like, how am I not making improvements, dude? I'm playing the best Siege of my life. Like everybody around me thinks that, like besides my teammates, which is crazy. And it's like Reed flat out said in the call, he said, to quote him, he's like, I think there are better choices right now than you, Drip. And I was just like, wow. I was just like, I mean, dude, I could say a million things about these people, but like, I want this team to work.
I'm gonna be honest. I've seen the screenshots. Like, I know who's going 4-11 every map, but I'm not gonna say anything. And like, to me, that's just ridiculous. And I know that scrims don't mean anything, and I know that the whole team dynamic matters. But literally everyone I've ever talked to, anything I've ever seen, like it wasn't. There's no chance of his performance, and that's why I'm asking you. Like, do you think that you were not improving in the other aspects, right? Were you still talking a lot of shit? Were you still super complaining? Were those things like that you didn't change at all? Because to
Those were
me,
gone,
because
gone after the meeting.
to me it's like once again, I didn't play on the team. I don't know. Like, were the vibes down? Were this and that? But it's like when you look at the performance, it's clear as day, right? But then like the things that we don't know, the things that obviously for them, for all of them is persistent, right? For them, it was like, he's just not improving. You know, he's typing in chat, like this and that. Like, what do you think, like, aside from what Nick said, aside from what Reed said, like, what do you think was in that last week before you got dropped? What was the worst? Like what were you doing that was bad? You know what I mean? Like, I just want to, like, what do you think? What do you think that you were doing that was why you got dropped?
So listen, Zaku, that added pressure of your teammate telling you, like,
No,
Nick,
I know, and it's ridiculous.
It affects performance, dude. I was playing these scrims like it was invite map 5. Okay,
I know because because I saw the screenshots. Like, you don't have to tell me. I know.
And not only was I praying that I would play well, dude, I'm praying that my team plays well, because if they play bad and we lose, like, it's like
you're pinning the blame on someone. Yeah,
they're gonna point the finger at me, and it's like, honestly, from my point of view, I don't think I deserved all the blame. I'm not blameless, dude. I have my issues, but at that meeting where they told Nick's had my issues, Cash, the org owner, suggested I keep a journal, like a daily journal. It was a good idea. Like, I liked it. Scrim opponent, daily goals. Did I meet the goals?
Right. Did you not type in chat? Did you work on your comms? Did you this and that?
And I have the journal. I can, their improvements were made. Everything went well. Like, everything, I was improving, especially in that last week. And like, I just, the last scrim, we played a T3 team, and we played them 2 maps, smoked them. I had like 16 one map. That's how I remember. And here is where I knew I was a goner, is we were map 3 against these guys. And I had clutched a 2v5. I got 4 kills in the 2v5. Nix didn't say a damn word. Everybody else on the team's like, great play, like, Drip, good job. Retro clutches a 1v3 the next round. Nick's like, Retro, you're so fucking good. Like, this and that. It's like, dude, when you're hyping up one teammate and the other time a teammate does, that I make a good play, and it's like, it's just the leader.
Like, well, in that 2v4, you could have done this and that.
You can tell the energy. Like, it's not fun, and it's miserable. Like, Retro, like, no, and this is just an example, or this happened, but Retro clutched a 1v3, and it's like, dude, you're so good. The next round I clutch a 2v5 where I get 4 kills and make a play, and crickets, dude. Like, and you notice stuff like that. That's energy. Like, it's very, very hard to work with and perform your best when you have a teammate.
You're only receiving negative energy from your leader. Like, it's just, oh man, just to think about that. Like, obviously, like, there's 2 sides to every story. Obviously, he's going to comment. He's going to say that I don't think that's how it went down. But it's like, but that's why we have these things, right? That's why he was able to go in his interview and say what he thought. And now you're over here opening up and saying, like, this is how I felt. And it's like, we can only pray, right? We can only hope that this isn't going on still to this day. And anyone on that team can come here and say that it's not happening. But it's like,
I won't believe them.
I'm not gonna believe them after the way that you've explained everything that happened here.
I mean,
now let me say this again. Sorry.
Yeah.
The day that you got dropped, I was upset. I was mad for you because you're my friend, and maybe for about an hour I was like mad. After that, I'm like, you know what, whatever. Like, it is what it is. It's business. It's Siege. That's how it works. I wish nothing but the best for any NA team. I've said that every event. I don't care who's on what team, who does what. I want NA to win chips, and SSG finally did it. So I hope DG does good. Like, I don't care, but when you come and you say this stuff to me about it, just makes me wonder, is he still, like, who's he berating now, right? Or maybe he's not. And we can, like, I can only pray that it's not happening. And I can only pray that they have a coach now who can say, Nick's, like, that's not really the issue. This is the issue. And it's like someone that he will listen to, because it's the same thing that I heard from the players who were also previously on teams with him, right? Mm-hmm. The hard-headedness, which is fine. But it's like, you can't reach that level of champion leader IGL with these things that I've seen and these things that you were telling me. Because you can have the best team in the world, but if you're just constantly berating them, like, what do you know what I mean? Like, it's all about attitude. It's all about the relationship you have with your teammates. And this team was thrown together. That's why I said, now, once again, let me preface my preface with, no matter who DG or Sonic picked up, people will be mad, right? Mm-hmm. No matter what team got picked up, they were mad. They could have went with PogChamp. They could have went with X-Rise at the time. X-Rise had an amazing invite qual. They lost to the team that ended up winning the Invitational. They lost to SSG. That was the only team they lost to. They played amazing. They could have picked up that team. The vibes were there. The team play was there. The strategies were there. They had a coach. But they didn't. They said, you know what, we want to build the team around all the people that got dropped last season, which is fine. I think Reed is a good player. People don't give him credit. I didn't believe in him at first. He had a great half season on United, and I was surprised when they dropped him still. You know? I don't think Nix is a bad player. I think at his roles, he's amazing. On his entry roles, I team with Nix. I didn't have those problems when I teamed with him way back in the day. Obviously, like after you go through the DZ structure, everything changes, right? That's just what we've noticed. And then, you know, Shuttle is Shuttle, right? He's a great player. Yeah. Unfortunately, they got relegated, but he's always been a good player. And who else? Retro. He kind of got the short end of the stick on Rec, having to play that kind of support role when it's a team of, playmakers, but it's just like
a proven player.
He's a proven player, right? And you playing the best siege of your life. But it's like the whole vibe thing. It's like the whole building relationships. It's the whole, your leader is just constantly berating you. Like, how are you supposed to try and fit in? It's almost like they're just trying to, get rid of you, just trying to put you to that melting point or that boiling point, right?
Mm-hmm. And I honestly think if I was a yes man kind of guy, like a yes sir,
you still be on the team.
I'd still be on the team, but like I want what's best for the team, and I'm also not going to let myself take shit like that. Like, because at the end of the day, dude, back then I'm thinking to myself, I had to live with this guy. I want to get these issues fixed before he's 3 feet next to me and starts saying this shit to me. Like, it's ridiculous. And Reed, Retro, and Shuttle may watch this, they may not, but like you guys can say like he's improved, but like you guys like were on my side at one point. Like, what I'm talking about. Like, this is not, I'm pulling this out of my ass. And I'm not mad I got dropped, dude. I'm the most relieved. Like, I was upset because I didn't get to move, but like it was a deep breath, dude. Like I was upset. I had explained it to my parents. It was a deep breath. Like, okay, like, dude, that was the most miserable time of Siege in my life. And like, it was miserable. It wasn't miserable because of Reed, Retro, and Shuttle. Like, they were there. They did, like, they never like bothered me. Like, they were fine. I think we all, the 4 of us, got along like well. It was Nix who just made it miserable. And I remember after that T3 scrim that night, we scrimmed Rise. We had a double book, and first map we tie. Second map we're playing Theme Park. We got shit on 11-1, and we had 2 players on the team that went 0-9 or 1-10, and it's like I'm the only one doing well, but I don't care about that. Vibes were terrible there, and I remember saying this on our Armory Throne defense. I said, come on guys, we got this. Like, it's no big deal. Like, we're better than these guys. Let's show them. I remember saying that. My life depended on it. I remember saying that. And we ended up getting smoked that map, and I played okay. I guess it's hard to play well when you get 11-1, but like, dude, it's like just the vibes were awful. It was toxic, and it's like I knew right then and there that was it, but I also thought to myself, dude, I move in 3, 4, 5 days. Like, no way.
I'm literally about to live with this guy.
No, like, I'm like, no way he's gonna drop me, right? Like, it's cash flow said in the last meeting, don't think about a roster change. And so I hop on the next day. I usually get on around noon, but I was doing my homework and I was like, dude, fuck this. I want to focus my time on Siege and give my team 100%. I went to my college website portal and I withdrew from my classes for the summer, which I've never done before. I've never withdrawn from a class before. I withdrew from my 3 classes that I really do need to take to get it back ahead. Around 4:30, I withdrew. I told my dad. He's like, "Hey, go for it. Like, we're behind you. You've done good in school. You're making money now. Like, go for it." And I hop in TeamSpeak at 6:00 when we're supposed to be there, and not a soul is there. And I just knew it was over. So not only did they kind of screw me out of my classes and my time, but just them being, they could have told me in the morning. They know I'm up early, and they didn't tell me. Cash called me. He said, "Hey, the team unanimously decided to drop you," and I'm just like, I knew it was all Nick's manipulation. And another tipping point in me getting dropped. Nick, we were scrimming one night, and Nick's like, "Why didn't any of you guys get on to help me learn this angle yesterday?" I said in the group, or he said, we were all in TeamSpeak. He's like, "Yeah, I asked in the group chat, can you guys get on?" And I'm like, I looked in the group chat. He didn't say anything. So that means they had a separate group chat already.
Right. They were already planned. Like, this was already
this thing. Was planned. This
and
was
that's
done.
that's why I'm asking you, right? Like, what was leading up to this? Because, they're all about this non-roster move, this championship mentality, this unanimous decision. And then you pick up a new player a week before you move to Vegas, right? You make a roster move less than a month before Pro League. I mean, like, to me, like the issues, like what you're telling me, and the way that this situation was handled, like it's not lining up. You know what I mean? Like it's not
Yeah.
so severe that they had to do this, right
And
now.
we're out
And
of
we
the
all
issue.
know that there's a whole nother stage until relegations.
Yeah.
So it's not like, and let's say the season started and you played 4 games and you lost all 4. Whatever. If they want to pin the blame on you, they pin the blame
Go
on
ahead.
Shuttle or pin the blame on whoever. Go ahead. But we didn't even get to game day.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna tell me their scrims now are insane?
They're
no,
not, dude. I've heard
they're
from
not. I
everybody. They're
know,
not.
and that's what I'm. And I don't want
And
to.
Nick said the other day on Caliber Jacobs podcast, scrims are the best they've ever been. Dude, come on. Like, I talk to everybody. Nick doesn't realize I'm friends with every T3 player, Zaku. I talk to all of them.
I know, and we all talk to everyone. We all see everything, and we all know. But I mean, like, if they're that comfortable and they're that confident, then great. That's what I'm trying to get at, right? Like that's great. Like maybe he's not berating this player. Maybe they're molding NJR. Maybe they're all coming to agreements now. But it's like I think it's just like I think they just like he just didn't like you, right? Because you're telling me
Yeah,
like
100%. That's what it was.
Like Shuttle was on your side at one point. Reed was on your side at one point. Retro
were
was
all
also
on my
on your
side.
side at one point. And like not like no one wants to choose sides, but it's like even Cashflow said, I like Nick's leadership qualities. I'm building this team around Nick's and Retro. So it's like, of course, they're gonna say, Reed and Shuttle are gonna say, yeah, right? Like you said, yes men. And it's like, is NJR another yes man? Or because he has the potential to be one of the best players like the world has ever seen. That guy is literally insane. But is he just going to be stuck on this team just because he's a yes man, right? Is he not? Is he never going to improve? Is this shit like who fucking
And
knows?
how can you not? And to counter that, a lot of people say that about NJ. NJ's another T3 kid that I know, and I know him. I didn't really know him before he joined Iconic Team. Iconic's one of my best friends, but Iconic was the one telling me about NJ, and I started playing with him a little bit. And like, I would play ranked with NJ and Iconic and all of them, and back when they were probably 6 months ago, and like I would just joke around with NJ. Like I would just kind of be a purpose asshole to him. Like it was just joking around because I'm friends with Iconic, and that's how me and Iconic talk to each other. Like, oh, you suck.
I
if you
know.
miss
Trust
the
me.
shot.
I know.
And I
Trust
did it
me,
to
I know,
NJ,
I
and
know.
like he kind of like mentally drained, and like I don't know, he like mentally like just didn't want to play with me again. And I was just like, wow. I was like, I thought I was kidding. It's like, dude, if this guy has a team with Knicks, and like he better be ready. If he got up, if he was really tilted at me over that, and maybe he's, teaming with Iconic. Iconic is one of my best friends, so I'm going to say this. Like, Iconic is kind of a hardhead too, but not in a bad way. He's just kind of like an asshole. Like it's a trait, but he's a great player, a great teammate. But like he's hard. He's hard on you, but he makes you better. Iconic does make all these.
He's hard on you and makes you better. He's not hard on you and makes it stressful.
And maybe he made. I hope Iconic prepared NJ for this. I really hope he did. And NJR is a really good player. I think he's a very mechanically skilled player. Mechanically, probably better than me. But there are things that I have that he doesn't. And, I really think I deserve that pro league chance. And, Nick's a big thing. One of Nick's argument was I rely on my gun skill too much, my gun fights. Well, dude, I'm an entry. And he's like, well, that won't work in pro league. Well, how do you know, dude? You played Ash and took gunfights all the time. How do you know that I'm not going to make it work? I'm very confident in my skill. I've been ready for this level for a whole year now. I'm ready. Like I think I have potential to be one of the best. And, most people that team with me will say the same thing. All the PogChamp guys, literal ex-pros that have finished top 4 or top 8 at majors and been on, teams that made pro league finals, all tell you the same thing. Jarvis is kind of like my mentor in a way. Like I've
learned from him. Yeah.
I learned from him and I respect him. Like I don't respect anybody else in this game like I do Jarvis, but like the faith he put in me, and like he's also one of Nick's ex teammates. And when I told him I was dropped, dude, and I would tell him some of the issues, he was just mind blown, but he wasn't shocked.
And that's the thing. People are not shocked, right? People are not surprised by the actions. And like I'm telling you, like it has to be a mixture of like the superiority complex and the DZ system. The DZ system is amazing, right? Like they you don't have to be the greatest mechanical player to win. And that's what they're showing the world,
sure.
Right? They're showing the world that like if you get up, you do your work, you put in work, you will be good. And like he got to experience it firsthand, right? So he's like, wow, like I can take everything that I learned and put it into this team and we'll be world champions. Right? But think about it, DZ isn't a world champion yet either. So how
Yeah,
could you expect to be a world champion 10 days into a team with players mixed together who are not even friends, right?
literally not even
And
friends, and
and
that's
I
not the win.
know and I know he means well. I know
Yeah,
Nyx is
he
not
does
doing
mean
this
well.
malicious. Like let me just say that now after everything we said. He's not trying to be malicious. It's just like something in his mind is like, I'm the leader now. Like I have this power, and like obviously it wasn't clicking, right? The first couple of weeks of practice, so you were doing something, and in his mind, you were gone already.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
in
I was
his
deep on
mind,
be gone.
and in his mind, when Cashflow says, I'm building this around you, he's like, I can get rid of this guy. But it's like
Yeah.
when you all brought it up about him, it was like, hey, let's talk about it and get through it. Right. But then they
Mhm.
talked about it with you not there. Obviously, there had to, because unanimously they decided to get rid of you. Right.
Yeah.
So
It
it's
was
like
unanimous.
unanimous, I say, with quotation marks,
Yeah.
because
Unanimous with a gun to their head.
I don't know. To me, it just like from what like I literally just think like from the interview with Caliber Jacob, I literally just think he doesn't see it as like what it is. Like he just sees it as improving and getting to that next level, but not all of the bad stuff, the bad morale and the bad relationships you're building with your team to get to that point.
Yeah. I mean, it was
Like
dude.
it could have been saved. This whole like that once again, I'm staring at this DM that says you do not have the authority. Like who I just
I was mind blown. I showed that to a variety of people. I do remember I showed that the night I got dropped, or yeah, because the night before we scrimmed Rise, and I showed England that just because I thought it'd be interesting because we did scrim him. He got to see of the perspective of who was playing bad and who wasn't. The night before I got dropped, and he was just like he was mind blown that he was saying that to me.
yeah, it's just I don't know. Like I said, he probably means well. I think there's something deeper there. I think literally like you might have done something that he didn't like, or that he maybe in his mind, his DZ system championship mindset was like, we'll never make it. And then it was like, instead of working on it, it was just like, let's just get someone else.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what it was. And
Ultimately. And then you have these other four guys that got relegated, dropped from their teams, have nowhere to go. Yes, sir. Right.
yeah,
And it's like, you can't blame them. You can't blame anyone. They're trying to play. And they can like, and this can all be like, they could come into the season, they could win, they could qualify
yeah,
for the major, and I'd be like, that's awesome. But from what I'm hearing, I just don't know. I just don't see it.
yeah,
And from what I've heard from past teammates, both teams, Rec and DZ, it's like it feels like nothing has changed, and it
yeah.
feels like with you leaving and even going over these problems, like why would it change now when it didn't change the past two times? You know?
And one thing I want to say about how unfair this whole thing is, there was a time, it was probably mid-April, back when we had Reaper, and we would get on at 4:30 Eastern for VOD review and stuff because Reaper's EU, right? So
Yeah.
it was like midnight his time, so that's like a compromise, a fair compromise. 3 days in a row, Nick's didn't show up, and he slept in, and he wrote an essay in the team chat about how excuses, and I understand, dude. My living situation at home is not the best now because I'm not at college anymore because of Corona. I'm back home. I have parents who don't understand video games, like they don't understand what I'm doing, and he's like making these excuses, dude. And he's like, when we get to the team house, this will never happen. I'm sorry, guys. I showed up every day. How is it fair that you get to go to the team house and progress and reach that level, and I don't get the chance to?
Right.
How is that fair? I have my own issues at home, man. Like dude,
And the thing is
everybody
like
does.
his dad, like it'd be different if his dad wasn't a coach for a pro league team,
Yeah, dad
right?
literally understands how it
Like
is.
if you're like if like my parents don't understand anything. If I told them like, oh, I got to be on at 8 a.m. to scrim or something, they'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
They'd be like go to work or something. But like, there's no way that you can't be up at 4:30, right? Like, there's
Hmm.
nothing like, unless like, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there's a doctor's appointment. Maybe there's this and that. But if he was literally just sleeping in, like, what does that show you, right?
And I promise you, if that was me that slept in 2 to 3 days in a
Oh, you'd
row,
be
dude, I
gone.
would have
You'd
been,
be gone.
I would end game.
Yeah.
And it was how, and it's not even that. My point is, dude, how is it fair that you get to say that, oh, well, when I get to the team house, all these issues will be fixed, but I don't get the chance to actually get to experience that, team bond, team chemistry thing.
Yeah.
How is that fair?
It's just once again one of those like ass backwards, yes, sir
Yeah.
moments.
And
You can't fight it. You can't, because you were the last one there.
Yeah, I literally was I was the last person they picked up.
So, well,
But
like we said, we'll see what happens this season.
yeah, I mean,
They
I
could win
want
every
the
game.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
we
may do
wish
well. Like, who knows?
exactly. And it's like
I'm not rooting against him. I don't root against anybody, but I'm just being realistic. Like, if NJR is not a saving grace, like he's a good fucking player. Don't get me wrong. That kid is good. He is a good player. But is he ready to go against Laxing Fox Vert? Is NJ good enough? Do they see NJ is so much better than me to where they will fix these issues
exactly
instantly?
instantly. And that's the thing. Like we said, you go there, you play a couple games. If it's not working, fine,
Yeah, but everybody deserves
fine.
that
But
chance.
it's like we're a week before you move in. Everyone was on your side until just now, apparently, right? Everyone was
Mhm.
like, kind of like, yeah, man, like this is kind of true. You were improving. You did what the
Oh, I was
DZ
improving.
the
I'll say
DG
it myself.
owner
I was
told you.
100% improving. Yep. Did
And
everything
it's
he
still
told
it
me.
didn't matter. It was like it was set in stone from the beginning.
It was 100% set in stone.
And I just hearing it like this, obviously, like in the Caliber Jacob interview, he was a lot more cut and dry, and there wasn't a lot of emotion to it, right? It was just kind of like answering questions, yes or no. But here, I get to hear you like say this shit and how it affected you, and this, and it's like it's terrible. Like I legitimately feel bad for you. Like I
Yeah.
legitimately feel bad that you got on to scrim with your pro league team that you're about to play in this new NA LAN league, and you were fucking mad getting on, right?
I
Like
was
you were upset.
mentally drained.
I have to live with this guy. I have to deal with this guy. Like
And if
that.
and if we don't win 4 out of the 4 maps tonight, dude, I'm going to get a 2-paragraph essay tonight demoralizing me, and like just I like it affects my sleep, it affects everything, dude. It was
And
just
like
stress.
I just like I want to know from Shuttle and Retro and from Reed, did they also get paragraphs? And what were their responses? Yes. Yes. Was it yes, yes, or did they not even get paragraphs? You know what I mean? Like no matter what they come out, no matter if they want to come out and literally combat everything you said and said it wasn't true, it's like what happened to them that made them, like if they weren't getting
Mhm.
berated and they weren't getting these messages about everything little thing they did wrong, what were they getting messages about? What positive team environment were they getting introduced to that you were not getting introduced to?
Yeah,
And it's like
special treatment.
no matter what they come out and say, to me it doesn't matter because to me it just means that you weren't treated fairly.
Yeah.
Let's say they all come out and they're like, no, Nix is a great guy. Then that just further proves that it was just you, right?
Yeah.
That just further proves that it was a grudge type thing.
Yeah.
So it's like literally no matter what anyone says, like it's whether they come here and say, yeah, he kind of was berating. That's how you know that he was literally telling everyone what they did wrong all the time in a manner that's not going to help your team environment, or they were nice to all the teammates but not you.
Yeah. It
And it's like, what the fuck?
it's just it's a crazy thing to think about, dude. I remember the first day Nix called me and said we're gonna pick you up, dude. I was like, I just haven't been that like. I mean, I'm not depressed. I'm always happy. Like I have a great living situation. I love life, but like I was happy, dude. That was probably the happiest I've been in a year, and it's like I remember after 2 weeks I was in bed, called my mom, like literally about to cry, like I fucking hate this. What did I sign myself up for? I'm contractually bound and I don't want to do I don't want to do this. And I tried staying positive about it. I really did, but it just
It just
on
gets
and
to you.
on. It
You just can't
got
do anything.
really did. It was miserable. It was a miserable time in my life in Siege.
All right. Well, I mean, if you have anything to add, now's the
Yeah,
time. I mean,
just just a thing or two. First
sure.
thing, I was actually on Caliber Jacobs podcast. Someone clipped and sent it to me. They were talking about me, Jess specifically, and I have a ton of respect for Jess. I actually wanted her to coach one of my professional level teams. I won't say which. You can deduce one of the two, but yeah, she said, I'm the most unlucky person in Siege, to quote her, and it's like. This a lot of people have this opinion. I mean, I just want everybody to know how fortunate I am. I consider myself extremely lucky. I've been in Pro League twice. I didn't play a game, but I've been a Pro League player twice. I have been on a roster on,
In
I
pro, that
really,
was
yeah,
in pro
I've been a
league.
top 40 player in North America twice. And it's like, I honestly, I'm blessed. I've met some of my best friends through this game. I enjoy competing. People are like, how does he keep doing it? I would quit. well, you got to have some perseverance in life. Not everything's handed to you. Achieved played CL 5 times, and now look at him, dude. He's the fucking face of the best team in North America, and it's like other people just T3 to, it. If you want it,
You just
you'll
keep
work
doing
for
it. You just keep doing
and
it.
it's like, dude, people have had it worse to me. Panic's missed out on 2 invites in a row because, dude, that's like missing out on the Super Bowl. Jarvis qualified for the Raleigh Major, didn't get to play it. Wins a DreamHack with TSM, qualifies for invite, gets dropped. Jarvis, again, I say this with utmost
Plays on
respect.
Luminosity. They weren't even last place. Gets their pro league spot taken away.
And they lose their spot. And it's like, dude, Jarvis, like, when you call me unlucky, let's just look at just Jarvis real quick. That guy from the time he won DreamHack to qualify for invite, dude, was probably a 6 month apart, and he got dropped 10 days after they won invite, right? Or won DreamHack. Yeah, and it's like, dude, if he was on TSM at the time they finished third at invite, and I'm not saying Gio's not better than him, dude. Gio's like one of the best players in the world, but like, let's just say they kept Jar, I still think they would have done great placing. Dude, Jar missed out on, like, if you added up like $100,000 in prize winnings and salary, like, that's unlucky. I'm 19.
You missed out on a pro league match, right? Twice.
Yeah, I'm 19. I've been in pro league twice, dude. Like, it's nowhere near the end for me. Like, I will make sure it's not. And it's like, I'm not unlucky in any way. I'm very, very fortunate. And right now, my team with me, Rex and Filthy, Benji, and Thomas, dude, we're better. We are better now than DG. I'll just say that right now. As someone who was on both teams, and PogChamp as well was better than DG. And it's not Reed, Retro, and Shuttle's fault. That is not their fault. They're great players. It's the difference between the vocal leaders on each team.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think you guys will be a top 2 team. I hope. I don't know how relegation is going to work. I heard rumors, but we'll leave that for another time. Yeah. I could definitely see you guys, PogChamp, making a pro league in the near future. Yeah. So I guess we'll end it off with that. Thank you guys for watching. It was kind of long. I'll put a timestamp of when we start talking about the good stuff, because some people are not going to want to listen to the backstory, the intro, whatever. But thank you, Drip, for coming on. This is going to be the last episode. I want to thank you guys for watching, and people who, want me to make more. I'm sorry. Like, there's just, I don't know. The motivation is not there for me, right? Like, it was fun the first couple ones, and then everyone's like, make another episode. And I'm just like, dude, like, I'm doing it because it's fun. I'm not doing it because I want to link my Patreon at the end of every video. I'm not doing it because I want monetary gain from it. I did it because it was fun. And I did it because people talk to me in the community. Like, they respect me and they respect what I have to say, mostly. Sometimes more than others. So yeah, thank you, Drip, for coming on. I honestly, like, a lot of the stuff that you told me is the first time I'm seeing it. Like, I'm looking at these DMs. Everything that he said is just it's objectively true. Like, he's reading it from these pictures that I can see. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's just weird to me, like, how they can go on those podcasts and interviews and just
lie. And if you want the screenshots, DM me on Twitter and I'll happily send them to you.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I do think it was unfair. I think that there was a lot of yes sir going on, like you said. But once again, like, I knew when you get dropped that there's no way that was the end. I'm like, this guy's just gonna join PogChamp, or this guy's gonna make his own team again. Like, there's literally no chance that you'll stop playing. So
yeah,
and you'll get there. And if you make it with this team, hopefully they'll let you play a game.
yeah. Last thing is thank you to Cashflow for just giving me the chance. Like, I'm sure you're not gonna be happy to hear this, but like, dude, I just gotta defend myself. And I see you defending me on Reddit, like, saying I've improved, and I appreciate that. It's just, when I have Nicks going around trying to, like, bring down my name and shit, it's like, dude, like, it's like, nothing against you or the other guys, but like, I have to, like, I'm sorry, but you, like, DG, everybody roasting DG for getting a free spot, dude, they deserve it. Like, they do. They literally deserve everything they get. Like,
yeah, and it's not from an org perspective. Great. Like, after you told me about, like, the empty bin or whatever meetings, like, that's cool. That's stuff that we need in Siege, because that's like what we, a lot of orgs don't do.
Yeah,
and it's really great, but it's just like, this was an issue between you and Nicks, and that's really what we're talking about. And like I said, no matter who they picked up, no matter anyone picked up, people are gonna be mad.
Yeah,
you just gotta brush those comments off, right? Even I said shit. Even I made fun of the Sonics, and I made fun of DG. For fuck's sake. But yeah, I mean, good luck in your future, and hopefully I'll be there with you. I mean, shit, I can't even make Challenger League, but
I'll get you there, man. I always look out for the day ones.
Thank you.